What is up, members of my collector corps? It is I, Super Mario Zilla, or you can call me Vinny, and today we will be taking a look at the S.H.MonsterArts Shimo. When this figure was first revealed, fans were far from pleased with how the figure looked, and what made it worse was that price. The figure had problems from the prototype, random articulation cuts, inaccurate to both the CGI model and concept art, strange proportions, oversized, and overpriced. The figure is a premium Bandai webshop exclusive and clocks in at an MSRP of $240. That is ridiculous considering its competitor, the higher toys Shimo, is less than half that price. When the MonsterArts released, fans across the board bashed this thing hard. It did not receive a warm welcome from the community and is the most divisive figure in the line. Even more so than Scar King, the community really can't decide if this is good or bad. My thoughts were the same at first. When I opened my figure up, my thoughts have changed significantly. I can't tell if it's because my expectations were low or because it genuinely surprised me, but I ended up liking the figure more than I thought I would. And maybe you might like it too, assuming the price doesn't scare you away. So, what are my full thoughts? And is this possibly worth the effort and money? Well, sit back and relax, and let's see if this beast is worth adding to your Monsterverse shelf. Alright, as I've said, this is not accurate to the CGI or concept models, so things will look off. Such as the snout being elongated and the crystals probably being too much of a deep blue. But other than those two things, dare I say it, and I know I'm gonna piss a lot of people off for saying this, Shimo really doesn't look bad. The finish is an excellent pearlescent finish and it looks a lot better in person than on camera. I promise this is not plain gloss. This is pearlescent. My camera simply can't do it justice. It looks so good and shines nicely in certain lighting conditions. There's some blue highlights across the figure too. Some shading helps. The crystals are a deep blue, but they look pretty cool, no pun intended. They look alright and not bad despite not being accurate. The mouth is a little strange, and it's because there's no membrane for when the mouth opens. How can Biollante do it and Shimo can't? It just looks strange without it, especially when the mouth is open. The eyes look fine too, if not a little plain looking, and the teeth are clean as well, thank God. The nostrils are not the cleanest unfortunately, that also looks off. And the head where there's plain white spikes, I feel like those should have been painted deep blue to match the crystals to better match the CGI model. Instead, it looks a little plain. And dare I say, lazy? So most of the issues are with the head. Everywhere else looks alright. Pretty good, I would say. So I'd say overall, despite some shortcomings, Shimo looks good. Some issues, but it ultimately doesn't mess with the figure's overall appearance. Articulation is weird. So some parts I think are good, some parts I think the engineering is a little bit questionable. Otherwise, I don't think the figure has bad articulation overall. It's just some things you gotta keep in mind, some things that just could have been done better, and some parts that were unnecessary. Hint. So let's go over what she's got. Head is on a ball joint. The neck is also on a series of ball joints, so she can look down with no problem. Looking up is no issue, and looking side to side, no problem. The jaw is also on a hinge, but cannot really close all the way, but it can open up pretty wide. The tongue is on a ball joint. Wait a minute. Is the tongue stuck? I think it might be stuck. And I popped it out. Nice. So as you can see, the tongue is on a ball joint. You know what? I'm gonna have to pop the head off in order to get this done. Okay, so I got the head off. So let me show you how this works. Okay, so neck is on a series of ball joints. We all notice. Okay, so the tongue is connected onto the neck piece, like this, and it's on a ball joint, so the tongue can move. But the head and the jaw are connected on one single piece. So I find that extremely awkward, but at the same time, because the tongue gave me a problem, I see why they put the tongue in the neck instead of like making it a piece in the mouth. It's really weird. It's awkward. I don't know why it is like that. But at the same time, I kind of do. It's like, what? It's like, huh? It's a little bit weird. Darn it. There we go. Alright, so as you saw, the tongue is on a ball joint, so be careful with it. The jaw is on a hinge. There's no membrane in the jaw for extra sculpt, so yeah, there's that. Shoulders are on ball joints. Can go just about this far back. No problem. There's a bit of a bicep swivel in the joint itself. Elbows can bend a pretty decent amount. The hands, well, paws, claws, whatever, are on ball joints, so plenty of ankle rocker movement, and can go all the way up and can go all the way down for more dynamic posing. You name it. Hind legs are on ball joints, can kick this far forward, this far back, and can split open. Shimo can pretty much do the splits if you so wish. Can do them around here too. Knees here are on ball joints. Oops, that foot likes to pop off. We have a nice bend. Ankles are on ball joints, and the toes are on ball joints as well. So plenty of ankle rocker movement for more dynamic posing. Toes on ball joints, as I said before. Mine has a QC issue where this ankle joint does like to pop off sometimes. There's a ball joint here and here and here, so you could get her to, you could get Shimo to curve like this, or curve the other way. She can also stand up if you so wish on her hind legs. You just need to balance her properly. Like so. Shimo can stand on her hind legs. It's a little bit tricky to do it because she can be a little bit top heavy, so keep that in mind. Tail is on a series of ball joints, and the segment popped off. Can get a decent curve. It's not the best S.H.MonsterArts tail. It's a little bit stiffer though than some other tails, but can curve upward and nicely, and downward. Oops. And downward can curve nicely as well. So tail is not bad. Up and down is pretty good. Side to side can use some work. Yeah. Now, the most useless bit of articulation I've seen on a figure to date. It's a little bit hard to see because of how I had the light set up. Dethagomizers, I think that's what they are called. They're on ball joints. Why are they on ball joints? Adjustment reasons? It's literally the most useless bit of articulation of all time because it doesn't serve any real purpose besides adjusting them. They should have just been a static piece on the tail because they really have no reason to be articulated at all, so that's a bit of a waste of engineering. Like, again, I seriously don't know why they added articulation to the thagomizers. So, articulation on Shimo, I'd say, is alright. Good, even. Is it the best? No. But for a four-legged monster, I'd say it's fine. I think it is good articulation overall. It's just some hard pieces of engineering is very, very questionable. Is very questionable. So some pieces of engineering, like here, this back piece has no reason to be a separate piece. The tongue being attached to the neck as opposed to the head, that's a little bit awkward. The jaw being on a hinge and on a ball joint, it kind of creates issues because it can't really open up all the way due to the sculpt clashing. So, yeah. And also the thagomizers, again, have no reason to be posable at all, and the tail cannot really curve left and right too well, but can curve up and down pretty nicely. So Shimo is a little bit of a mixed bag with articulation. Some parts are good, some parts are not. So overall, I think the articulation is good, just not as great as some people try to make it out to be. But you could still get her in plenty of poses, no problem. So overall, I'm still pleased with what we got. Now, accessories. Nothing for her, unfortunately. But we do get this Kong head. With the silver tooth. It's the teeth-gritted head from the event-exclusive Kong. Now, this head is a little bit inconsistent with the other heads that Kong came with because, well, look at it. It's a little bit heavy-handed in the beard, the dry brushing, and overall it just feels like they took leftover heads from the event exclusive and just repainted them to match the aesthetic and color of the new Empire Kong. And the silver tooth is barely noticeable. I mean, to be fair, like how noticeable can you make it realistically? But the teeth are also a little bit rough. And the eyes are not exactly looking straight ahead. It's not horrible, but not the best either. So overall, it's fine, but kind of a waste because it really feels like Kong should have came with a teeth gritted head in the first place. So no reason for Shimo to have it other than trying to sell units because DLC accessories, which I hate. So yeah. It's a little bit weird. But nothing for Shimo. There's no beam effect, there's no frostbite effect, there's no chains, there is nothing. Shimo does not have any accessories at all, so for that price point, that's really disappointing. Here's a size comparison with other figures you may or may not own. Shimo is a really big figure, especially when standing up straight. She's a beast, so if you're looking to get her, make sure you have space cleared up because she will take up a good chunk. Overall, I think I can confidently say I'm pleased with Shimo, all except for that MSRP. There's no way you can ever justify this thing being $240. That's ridiculous and not worth it at all. Realistically, this should have been $150 with some Frost Breath accessories. Oh well. So with that being said, can I recommend this to you? Well, do you like Shimo? Then yeah, I'd say grab it. Is that price too much? Then wait for a sale and get this cheaper if possible. Otherwise, that's the only way I can recommend this figure. As long as you like what you see, love it, hate it, well, it's your opinion, and my opinion is I like it. I like it a lot, actually. And I hope when they make an updated Shimo with more accessories, they learn from the mistakes of this figure. But knowing Bandai, who knows? I'll give Shimo a 7 out of 10. I can't give it a lower score or higher score, so I'm putting it right around the middle. Shimo is definitely one of the more controversial figures in the Monster Arts line, and I had a hard time reviewing her as a result. I normally do not worry about pleasing both sides, but I didn't want to anger anyone for backtracking on what I said about the figure previously. In conclusion, this is far from the worst Monster Arts. That title still belongs to Godzilla 2019, Night Color version.
So, has Bandai delivered? I don't know. Like, it's so weird. It's in this weird area where I don't know if I can really say Bandai delivered on these or not. Because the figures are not bad, they're just mediocre. Like, I think Scar King is the worst out of all of them. Godzilla Evolved, I sort of grew to like him a little bit more, but I still would not say that he's the best of the best. Shimo, boy, first impressions of Shimo were pretty terrible when the prototype stages came to be. Because wow, when the promo images came out, everybody dogpiled on Shimo. But when the figure released, when I got her in hand, in person, things change, and my thoughts have changed, and I also just feel like I came off as a complete douchebag when I did not even have the figure in hand yet. But I kept criticizing it and saying it was probably going to be one of the worst Monster Arts, where that's not even the case. At least in my opinion, it's not the case. Shimo is far from being the worst Monster Art. Godzilla 2019 Night Color version still holds that title. I truly do think Bandai failed the Monsterverse here, at least with Godzilla Kong the New Empire. There could have been so much to be done here. Like with Shimo, the problem was that Shimo was not accurate to her CGI model, and also came with no accessories, and that price, terrible, atrocious. We all know. The story has been told countless times. The prices on most of these were atrocious. Scar King being 100, atrocious. Godzilla Evolved 140, atrocious. Shimo being 240, that's atrocious. Kong being 78, not as atrocious as everybody else, but should have been the same price as the Godzilla vs. Kong. And Kong getting the DLC accessories. First of all, the Beast Glove should have came with Kong at the start. There is no excuse for why Kong did not have the Beast Glove when the figure came out, because we knew what the Beast Glove looked like in the trailers. So Kong not having the Beast Glove was questionable. And it just made no sense at all. It made no sense to why Scar King had to come with the Beast Glove. And Kong did not have an updated sculpt, as I've said before, because why is this not an updated sculpt? Because people, after Godzilla vs. Kong, they demanded a more accurate Kong. Bandai did not give us the accurate Kong. Bandai did not really give us accurate anything. Like, these figures are not accurate to their CGI models at all. They're not one-to-one anyway. Scar King and Shimo have the argument on where they're based off concept models, but the problem with that, first of all, the movie was already out. The concept art is God knows how old, way older than the movie itself. The movie was already finalized when it went into production. The designs were finalized. Why didn't we get the finalized designs? It just makes no sense to me. Articulation on Scar King should have been done better, because wow. And we're not even done yet, because we still are waiting for Suko and Mothra. Well, Suko and Mothra are already released in Japan. We just don't have them here in the United States yet. The worst out of all these is probably Scar King and probably Godzilla 2024 by default, because Godzilla 2024 still looks terrible. The problem with these figures is that they had a lot of missed opportunities, and they had so much potential, so much more potential that we did not get. Like, these figures already unleashed some potential, but not their full potential. You get what I mean? So it's like we were still screwed over in the end, because Bandai did not give us maximum effort here. So it's like, how did they do so well with the Godzilla vs. Kong stuff, yet they dropped the ball with the Godzilla and Kong New Empire stuff? Like, that's something I genuinely do not understand. I also do not understand why Suko has pins, visible pins, like you see on the Marvel Legend or McFarlane Toys action figure. Should not have pins. We have proof that Bandai can do small figures without pins. Look at the Figure Arts Dragon Ball line with the Dragon Ball Daima mini figures. Suko should not have pins. Just makes zero sense to me. And Suko with Mothra is going to be like $90 to $100. Not the worst price I've seen, but still not great. I know the biggest point of contention with Shimo was her price point was $240, where it should have been realistically $150, because first of all, the higher toys Shimo is coming out, and that's $60. Why is this so much more? Why is this so much more? Why didn't they price it to the point where it could realistically compete with the Haya? Instead, they're treating you like an idiot, knowing that you'll buy the stuff. I mean, look at me. I already bought the stuff. Knowing that you'll buy the stuff, and you get what I mean? They're treating you like a moron, thinking you'll still buy this stuff, when in reality they try to not acknowledge competition at all, because they think you loyalists will still support them no matter what. To what point will it stop? That folks will realize that these are not the figures that they could have been. It could have been so much more. It just makes no sense to me. It's so hard to explain, so hard to describe the overall problem with the Godzilla and Kong New Empire line. I don't know how to put it into words, really. Even while writing down notes for the video, I still do not know how to put it into words. It's such a weird area to be in. It's not a gray area, it's just an awkward area to where you can't tell what truly is good or bad about these figures, because they contradict themselves a lot. Some things are good, some things are bad. You enjoy these figures, but at the same time you don't. It's so awkward for me to like these figures, but at the same time understand their problems and not like them at the same time. It's just such a weird area to be in. Like, genuinely, I had a hard time figuring out what my opinion truly was on these. I can definitely say for a fact that Shimo, my first impressions were pretty good, and they carried over to the review, because my thoughts have just changed when I got the figure in hand. I didn't think it was as bad as people made her out to be. Does she have problems? Absolutely she has problems. But is she as bad as she was made out to be? No. At least I don't think so. But Godzilla evolved. He has issues. Was he as bad as everybody made him out to be? Not exactly. Scar King, was he as bad as everybody made him out to be? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that, yeah, Scar King has a lot of issues and just should have had more to him. But no, because everybody blew everything out of proportion. Just basically gnawing at each other on what's good and what's bad about the GXK line. What ticks me off a little bit about Shimo is when she has no accessories, you know for a fact they're going to release a future version with actual accessories for her and not just DLC accessories for, you know, this clown. Because like I said, we got no Frost Breath accessories yet. They're probably going to save that for a future version, like Final Battle version or whatever, where she has the Frost Breath. Or Frostbite, excuse me. Same with Godzilla Evolved. Maybe there'll be a more translucent version with the pink effect, the pink heat ray. Maybe with Scar King, we'll get a future version with the chains and also a smiling and maniacal laughing face. Who knows? I mean, the Final Battle Mechagodzilla 2021 was any indication. I mean, safe to say, history will repeat itself for these figures as well. Overall, the Godzilla and Kong New Empire line is not all bad. They have their fair share of redeeming qualities, and hell, I'm willing to say they're not as bad as I try to make them out to be. I'm backtracking a little bit here. You have to understand, I am autistic. I'm still learning, I'm still growing. Because my mentality, you know, can be brought back by a few years. So it's like, I don't want history to repeat itself like I did with the What's Happening to MonsterArts line. I'm trying to be a little bit more mellow here. I could definitely say I was too harsh, but some figures I don't think I was probably harsh enough. But some figures I felt like I was perfectly harsh with, like with Scar King. But overall, I don't know. The Godzilla and Kong line is just mostly mediocre. It's nothing fabulous. It's nothing fantastic. It's nothing truly awful either. It's in a weird area, as I've said before. So overall, agree to disagree, disagree to agree. The Godzilla and Kong New Empire line is in a weird area in the MonsterArts line. Some figures are good, some figures are not so good, some figures are bad, some figures are just mediocre, some figures are not as bad as people made them out to be, some figures are not as good as people made them out to be, so on and so forth. Could've, would've, should've, oh well. And I will say this, I'm hopeful for the future. I don't want to say all modern MonsterArts are bad, because that's not even the case. It's not the case at all. My problem is that MonsterArts is just way too overpriced. Bring the cost down on MonsterArts, and I think people would be singing a different tone for a lot of these figures. Because like I said with Shimo, $240, that's still too much, despite what my thoughts are. That's way too much. But overall, yeah. Just wanted to bring this up in case anybody was going to ask what my full thoughts on the line was going to be. What my full thoughts on the figures were going to be. If opinions have changed, if they've remained the same, whatever. And why my thoughts changed so much for Shimo. This whole video was going to be a lot different than what it was that I just showed you. I was going to have fake Mariozilla show up. Fake Mariozilla would have represented the community that's overly defending Shimo. And just saying nothing is wrong with the figure, even though that's not true. Just poking fun. I would never like do anything personal, or do personal attacks. That's not me. That's not who I am. It just would have been to poke fun. I canceled that idea when I got the figure in hand because my thoughts changed on the figure. Because I no longer shared the opinion that it was going to be the worst MonsterArts. I couldn't go along with the original idea anymore, so I had to scrap it. So, yeah. There's a fun fact for you. The whole video was going to be a lot different than what it was originally. It was going to be a mixture of a review and also just having my fake self just saying what's good about the figure and what's not good. Well, saying a bad part of the figure is good when in actuality that's not the case. But again, I couldn't go through with it anymore because of my thoughts changing. And I admit this. I kept saying the figure was just going to be bad, even though I didn't get it in hand. Because, I don't know. At some points, it just really felt like I came off as a jerk. So to anybody watching that came off as a jerk across to, then I apologize. And I am sorry. Yeah, I think I'm done here. So, with that being said, I'm Super Mario Zilla, or you can call me Vinny, and I am out. Make sure you hit the like button, comment, let's have a chat. Subscribe if you don't want to miss any of my stuff. Hit the bell icon if you definitely don't want to miss any of my stuff. Subscribe if you like my content, and I am out. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.